Are we ready? Okay, good. I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Correll, Councilmember Falkingham, Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Mayor Greenberg,
Here.
Councilmember Homa,
Here.
Councilmember Maddox,
Here.
Councilmember Page,
Here.
Mayor Greenberg, a quorum is present.
Thank you. I need a motion to excuse council members Falkingham. Well, we'll start with,
So moved.
Second.
we have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'll do a second motion here to excuse Councilmember Correll.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Both council members are excused. Item number 5 is the approval of the council agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion, changes, revisions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. The next item is the approval of the February 25th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting minutes are approved. Item number 7 is an application for a full and Sunday liquor by the drink license for Robin Restaurant Group LLC at 7268 Manchester Road. Has anyone signed up for this public hearing?
Not for this hearing, no.
And is the petitioner present? Is there anything you'd like to say? Okay, thank you. Item number 8 is the public comment. Who's signed up first?
Okay, first we have Mr. Rodney G.
Keep it under an hour now.
Under an hour, perfect, I will do so. What I first like to do is give some information to the clerk.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Greenberg and distinguished members of the council. My name is Rodney G. I'm the Director of Administration for St. Louis County. It is certainly a pleasure to be here with you this evening. And what I want to do is briefly give you an update on what we are doing in St. Louis County and talk about some important measures that are coming up on the April 8th ballot. We're hard at work on multiple projects to benefit our residents, and one of those is our 2050 plan for St. Louis County. The strategic planning process, built on public engagement with people like you and those you serve, will provide a long-term vision for the county and guide the development of a sustainable, equitable, and physically responsible community. We have a large steering committee contributing to the project on behalf of county residents, and you can go to St. Louis County website for updates on that process or sign up for email alerts. Recently, County Executive Dr. Sam Page signed a multi-jurisdictional agreement with St. Charles, Franklin, and Jefferson counties for a new regional training center for our police officers. This is a transformational project that will help support law enforcement across our region and comes after months of discussion between the leadership of each county. St. Louis County received an appropriation through the state legislature in July to support that effort. One of the most important things I want to share with you is that St. Louis County has been named one of America's best mid-size employers for the 2025 by Forbes, a recognition that highlights the county's commitment to fostering a supportive and innovative workplace for its employees. In the county administration department, one of the other most important projects we're working on is a new sales tax system that'll allow more transparency from the municipalities into the sales tax calculations. It's been under development for over 14 months. We hope to have it finished by the end of this year and welcome each of the municipalities in St. Louis County to it. So you'll be able to see the exact transactions that go into the sales tax revenue, what we get from the state, and how it's distributed to each municipality. So what I want to also do is touch bases on something we do have in common. You have a Proposition B, and St. Louis County has a Proposition B on the ballot. Yours is really straightforward. I actually like it. $60 for each food vendor per day. Drives revenue for the city of Maplewood, which is really nice. Proposition B, on the other hand, in St. Louis County, has misleading language on the ballot. In fact, what Proposition B would do was allow the legislature to take over the directions of the 12 department heads. In fact, it could allow the legislative body, the council, to simply fire a council head or the police chief or the director of public health without cause for any reason. That language on the ballot is misleading. It's also been shared with us and approved by the appellate court that it is misleading, so we're waiting on one more final issue from the appellate court on that. If it doesn't occur, the court may just simply not count the ballots on the April 8th ballot, which will cost the taxpayers $500,000. So that is the difference between the two Proposition Bs that are on the ballot. Yours I love. The other one, I'm not so sure that it's the right thing for the voters of St. Louis County. That is my update. Thank you so much.
Does Proposition B require just a simple majority?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there questions from council?
Yeah, I have one question for you. Looking here at the infrastructure piece, this bridge replacement along Big Bend at Union Pacific Railroad, is that here in
Yes,
Maplewood here? So is that slated to happen 2025?
It is slated to happen this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any idea when?
I don't know. I have to check with our transportation director, but I can get you specifics on that one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
And that was an issue when we first talked to Great Rivers Greenway about extending the greenway across that bridge. And I'm wondering if there's any opportunity at this point to look at that. It's the property on the west side of Big Bend that I don't know how much we have. And that was an impediment last time to the plan, but it'd be really nice, and I think it could save money if we were able to incorporate that into the plan, so.
We are unfortunately too far along with the GRG project and the planning and the easement construction to make any changes to the project at this point.
Okay. Any other questions and comments? All right, thank you. Item number 9, there's someone else.
There is one more. We have Mr. Harold Beckham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Harold Beckham, 2821 Oakland Avenue. Probably good timing from what I heard you talking about earlier. I'd like to talk about sewer laterals. On April 1st of last year, my basement got flooded from the torrential rains that we had. I had my sewer cleaned out. It cost me over $500. The main thing was roots from a tree in the tree line. I had my line camera at another $175. Brought the paperwork, the flash drive down here, gave it to them. I called Public Works, called Dr. Jason, or emailed him on the 8th of April to see if he had seen the video on that. He replied back and said yes, that it was covered. And that he was thinking about having tow plumbing come and put a liner in. That would be cheaper than digging up, and with me being by EEC and buses coming up and down and everything. Tope came out a couple of times, ran their cutters through, redid the cameras and that. They did no repairs. numerous emails and phone calls back and forth over months. In October, I decided to go up to Public Works office and talk to Jason in person. He informed me that he had no money, that the sewer laterals didn't have any more money. But I was at the top of the list. I ended up coming down and talking with Mr. Trexler, and he informed me that with people buying a house now, most of them are having their sewer lines cambered, costing a lot more on the program. And at $50 just isn't covering enough to take care of the laterals. I'm sure you know that. And I'm just wondering what it's gonna take to get my sewer line fixed. It'd be a year, 1st of April. Rainy season's coming. The roots grew over the summer. I don't want to have another flood in my basement. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to direct the question to Amber. The projects in the pipeline currently, those are all scheduled, or they're going to be scheduled, correct?
At some point, correct. But right now, we have approximately 24 to 26 on the waiting list.
And we have priorities established based on the severity of the,
Yes, the list does change depending on what comes forward, whether there is an urgent, there's sewage in the basement versus something that we can schedule a little bit later that maybe is not an emergency repair.
so the priorities are chronologically when they signed up
Correct.
and the severity of the problem.
Right. So the list does adjust.
And in terms of clearing up that backlog, with the current funds available, how far can we get into that?
We are not able to clear the backlog out of this year's funds unless council decides that we can, to clear that out, appropriate funds from the capital improvement budget, which is something that we had planned to propose during budget work session, so that whatever formula you come up with is implemented as soon as this backlog is cleared. So anybody who has an issue that comes up before the end of the fiscal year would be added to the sort of current program, which we do know we will have to borrow money from capital improvement in order to resolve all of those. Then starting July 1, whatever new formula we come up with would be implemented with anybody who is coming new into the program at that point.
Okay. And so I hope that helps clarify where we're at. We're looking at different options with regards to a permanent solution. We're also taking into consideration, we're going to try and take into consideration the homeowner's age and their financial status, so that we can help out people that can less afford to contribute to the sewer lateral repair. So is there anyone else signed up for the public comment?
Maybe one more point, just to clarify, a question for me. I think we talked about at the work session last time, if you, like Mr. Beckham, are on the list, existing list, and we make changes to the program, anyone that's on the wait list now would have sewer lateral replacement fully covered as before?
Correct.
So if we impose a copay or a cap or any other provisions, you would, since you've already applied for that, you'd be under the current program. So hopefully your sewer lateral will hold out long enough for us to get to it. Item number 9 are announcements.
I've got two. Helps if I have my notes up. Debatable. All right, two things. Coffee Crawl is March 22nd. We have the 2 tours, early riser at 8:30 and sleeping in at 10:30. Information's on the city website and the Enjoy Maplewood pages and everything all links up. It's a really fun event. I go every year. We have a lot of really good coffee in Maplewood. 10 of 10, do recommend. And then our next comprehensive plan open house is Monday, March 31st from 4 to 7 p.m. here in council chambers. We are looking to solicit public feedback on proposed future land use map and provide an opportunity for visitors to discuss the plan process with PGAV. That's all I got.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any announcements? Okay, we'll move on to item number 10, which is unfinished business. The one item is Bill 6276, final reading, amending the 2024-2025 fiscal year budget to increase the Proposition S budget for street and sidewalk improvements.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Greenberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Homa,
Yes.
Councilmember Maddox.
Yes.
Councilmember Page.
Yes.
All right, 6276 is approved as ordinance 6070.
Thank you. Item number 11 is new business. The first item of new business is the approval of a full and Sunday liquor by the drink license for Robin Restaurant Group LLC at 7268 Manchester Road.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. This location had the same license previously, correct? Okay. Since the petitioner is here, does anyone have any questions? Chance to put him on the spot?
We're enthusiastic about your arrival, but I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Hi, Mayor Greenberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Homa,
Yes.
Councilmember Maddox.
Yes.
Councilmember Page.
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia.
Yes.
Okay, the liquor license is approved.
Thank you. Welcome. Next item under new business is Resolution 25-6, appointing D.J. Howard to the Design and Review Board and establishing his term of office as expiring June 30th, 2026.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Homa,
Yes.
Councilmember Maddox,
Yes.
Councilmember Page,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Greenberg.
Yes.
25-6 is approved.
Next item is Resolution 25-7, appointing Gus Wimmer Brown as an alternate to the Board of Adjustment and establishing his term of office as expiring June 30th, 2030.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? I'm just glad that we're going to have an alternate so that we can do a better job of taking care of the requests. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Maddox,
Yes.
Councilmember Page,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Greenberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Homa.
Yes.
Resolution 25-7 is approved.
Next item is Resolution 25-8, authorizing the city manager to accept the bid from DSLR Pros in the amount of $14,815 for the purchase of an M30T drone.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. I expect some discussion here.
What are,
Third.
is this for the city of Maplewood to use, or is this for the police department?
It's for all departments in the city of Maplewood: Public Works, Fire, Police, and Community Development.
Thank you.
Mayor, you're a drone guy, aren't you? Is this a good drone? Is this what we need?
Well, I did have
Think
it.
about drones.
I do have a Mavic here. There's several issues here with regards to the purchase of the drone. I had a meeting with the police department yesterday, and the first issue was that there might be a moratorium on Chinese-built drones. My understanding is that if we purchase one now, we would be grandfathered and we'd be able to use it even after the state legislature. And Jackie, is my understanding correct?
I'm not aware of a grandfathering, but there is certainly a provision that allows the Director of Public Safety for the state of Missouri to grant an exception to continue using them for law enforcement purposes.
Okay.
In other words, it's a prediction, but the fact that they included that language leads us to probably believe that they recognize that this is what law enforcement in the state utilizes, and they've provided a way to allow that to continue.
Thank you. The other issues were, or features of the drone, it has an infrared camera, so it can detect people in the dark. It can, if the fire department could use it to detect hot spots, it would be used for, at community events where we would have a large crowd. It could be remotely accessed by the police chief or anyone else remotely, so that they can, communicate with whoever's operating the drone and give them directions. Public Works would use it for inspections of most likely roof inspections. It also has the ability to carry a small payload, so it could drop, for instance, if someone's stuck on ice, it could drop the end of a rope, and and it also has a loudspeaker so that if you have a suspect identified, you can talk to them. You can't, it's not two-way communication. But those are the main features of the drone.
I apologize, I don't have an expertise in drones. I just don't. I'm a little concerned with the carve-out that our city attorney mentioned just for law enforcement. Leads me to a concern that if we get this and the state passes any kind of legislation saying you can't have, Chinese-made drones, we've effectively paid a lot of money for something that we can't use for a lot of things. So, obviously it'd be good that our emergency workers could still use it, but are there American-made drones that are comparable quality and price or close on price?
Yeah, the bids that they received, the next closest American-made drone would be about twice as much money, and the zoom and resolution and camera resolution are less than the DJI. There's other municipalities currently using and purchasing these drones. So, that is a variable in the equation that we really don't have the answer to at this point in time.
Are there other non-Chinese made drones, or is China kind of the only other major player in this market?
No, there are other ones, and
Price differential?
I believe that they research those also.
Yeah, and certainly we could go back out to bid. We would be paying more and would be getting a slightly lesser product. So it's a calculation.
Yeah.
Do we pay less for the higher quality equipment that may have a sunset at some point? Or do we pay more for one that we're certain will not be part of any future legislation?
This one meets the needs that our department heads want to meet, yeah.
Yes.
Fight the other battle later. I'm okay with it.
What's the life of a drone? It looks like this legislation wouldn't be until 2027, so we'd have at least 2 years where we could use it for all purposes.
Yeah, and I should clarify, the legislation hasn't even made it out of committee. It's not a bill that's being voted on yet on the floor. But certainly, we would expect to use this for at least 5 to 8 years.
Keep in mind, the state legislature wants to ban building codes too. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Chastity, did you want to?
I just have concerns, liability concerns. If there were an accident were to occur, I have operating concerns, especially when it comes to search warrants and those types of things. I just have concerns. I'm not sure that this is the right time to make the purchase. I think we should have had a discussion a little bit about it a little more, and I also think that, with looking towards collaborating with our partner cities a little more, is this something that maybe a collaboration could happen with? Because are they going to be flying a drone every day? you know, like those types of things. And I think it would be for emergency types of purposes, which there could be some logistics problems with getting it in a hurry if you did need it. But I have a lot of concerns about the liability and the legality of it.
Do we, I mean, like, I guess, and I agree with Councilmember Maddox. I kind of would have liked a little more information. Like, do we have, not that a list would make sense, but like, do we have like scenarios where someone has said like, wow, I wish we'd had a drone that would have saved us 20 minutes of searching for a person in Deer Creek or something? I don't know. Like, I understand when we have things we approve purchasing, like the boat after the creek flooded, really bad. And we're not planning on using that much, obviously. We hope not. But this, I'm like, this is,
Well, let me address those questions. Part of my discussion was with regards to the general order that the police department would compose in order to, dictate the parameters of the operation of the drone. And they won't operate the drone until they have that general order, and they'll share the general order with us unless there's some sensitive information with regards to, preventing, a bomber or something,
Yeah.
But, and there's been general parameters established by police organizations for utilization of the drone to make sure that hopefully it falls within the legal limits, but, every state, every municipality is different in that regard. So,
I have one more question. It's a little unrelated to that, but my memory of dealing with drones a little bit with scouts is that there's a fair bit of training and licensing for the operators. Is that going to get just eaten by the department's budgets to get that training done, or are we going to set some extra money aside for that? How's that going to work?
Yeah, so there
that's
will
part
be-
of the purchase agreement. There'll be 3 people, well, more than 3 people. There'll be at least 2 police officers, someone from Public Works and someone from the fire department that would be trained. And you're right, the training is extensive, especially with the capabilities of this drone. So
But
hopefully,
we've got budget to handle that, just sort of within what we're
Yes,
already.
and you would be required to be a licensed drone pilot in order to fly it.
okay, but again, do we need a drone? Like, I understand the point about like, basically the statement of work on when they'll use it and the training, but I still keep going back to like, do we need a drone?
I know I've seen, since I've been on council, after flooding of Deer Creek, footage sent out that was clearly from a drone, that was sent out to city staff and council members. And that was taken from a drone that obviously was not ours. So I think there are use cases for us where we would need one or could utilize one. I just don't know. I'm with you. I don't know how often you're saying, man, I wish I had a drone and we could really use it for this. My other question, the memo said that there's consultation with other municipalities. Are there legal implications to having a drone? Like, what happens when you're doing a roof inspection and you find something that's against the law in your drone footage and then needs to be addressed? Like, you're not using it for a law enforcement purpose, but things can come up when you are potentially having a bird's eye view of things that you may not, unearth otherwise.
So if we're looking at a roof and we find a meth lab, what does that mean?
Exactly, something like that. Like, are there legal parameters that we need to look out for in having a drone that we wouldn't need to cover without?
So there's just general constitutional law, which I know our law enforcement officers, or at least the command staff, stay up on, so that they would certainly be guiding the officers in their use of the drones. I would say it's an unsettled question of law as to the extent of when warrants are required, but I can say that one of the exceptions to a warrant requirement is when there's an open and obvious condition. So if they are flying a drone in a way, I don't want to say this is a legal opinion necessarily, but what I would think is that if they're flying the drone in a place that they are allowed to be, for example, public airspace, for example, over the roads checking traffic, et cetera, and they happen to see something open and obvious from that legal vantage point, it may well be the same exception as any warrant, as any exception would be to the warrant requirement, which is that if you could see it and you weren't doing anything wrong when you saw it, then you would be able to pursue it. We would need to look into it more on a specific issue. I don't know if there are any case law on that, but I think it's a somewhat unsettled question of the law, but that drone use is an acceptable use, generally speaking, for law enforcement, for emergencies, for fire response, for traffic type emergency response, et cetera. So it's a commonly used tool. It's just that, yes, the people using it have to be careful with how they do it.
I would think that would be like a traffic stop. If you stop them for one reason lawfully, and, there's evidence that they've committed a crime or in possession of illegal substances, that, you could act on that.
Perhaps.
Maybe one more question. In the consultation with other municipalities, do we have municipalities, like neighboring municipalities, that have drones that we would be able to use? Or what was the consultation, I guess, concerning just how they're used or that type of thing?
I can't say off the top of my head which neighboring municipalities are using them right now. We could certainly find that out. I know that the fire districts in general, which are larger and have larger budgets, do, and that's why you saw the footage from the Deer Creek flooding from the drone. That actually came from St. Charles County. So some of these larger jurisdictions have been using them for a bit of time.
Yeah, St. Louis County uses them, and I kind of looked up, I don't know, I didn't call St. Louis County to get accurate information, but they have a fleet of drones that they used, several of them, and there were only 17 instances that I could find that they ended up using a drone in the amount of time they've had them, which I didn't get the amount of time that they've utilized that technology. But I did look up, and St. Louis County does have a fleet.
Yeah, there's questions at the mayor's lunch tomorrow. I'll ask, 6 to 10 other mayors what they're doing. So we have an opportunity here to approve, deny, or table this.
Or continue, Mayor,
I'm sorry?
or you can continue it. You don't have to table it. You could continue it to the next meeting.
Okay.
Would
Is
that be sufficient time to get a general operating order to us?
A draft of a general order, most
Yeah.
likely.
I would like to see that too before.
Would this purchase be, any of it be from the Prop P funds for public safety, for the police department, or would it all be general fund, or do we know?
Capital improvement.
Capital, okay.
So we have a request that we don't act on it until we have a general order. Is that, that appears to be your sentiment also? Okay. Eric?
I'm comfortable with it now, but I'm also comfortable waiting and getting more information. I can see a million uses that have nothing to do with law enforcement that would, even if we didn't use it for law enforcement, I think it'd be worth having. But I understand the concerns regarding law enforcement, and if that makes people happier, I'm happy to wait another 2 weeks.
Well, considering the fact that I was told that the drone would not be utilized until there was a general order drafted and approved, I don't know that there's any urgency at this point. And waiting until we do have a general order that we can review makes some degree of sense to me. I'm in favor of purchasing it now, but I don't know that it's going to make any difference whether we do it now or later. So Jackie, the proper procedure at this point?
So it is up to you all. If you want to, you can postpone it to a date certain. If you tabled it, it stays on the table until you bring it off the table. So usually my recommendation is to postpone to a date certain so that you keep track of it. It's just an easier,
So to postpone it, do we need a vote?
yes, you would.
Voice vote? Roll call.
Yes, but
So we make a motion to postpone Resolution 25-8 to the 3/25 meeting?
We have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
And you said voice vote, right?
Yeah, it's just all in favor, just to postpone it, correct? Yes, okay.
Then, all in favor of postponing the resolution?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you for the discussion. Next item is Resolution 25-9, authorizing the city manager to accept the bid from Southern Bus and Mobility in the amount of $125,444 for a 24-passenger bus.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Will this bus have disco lights and a bar?
Only if you would like to pay extra to install those.
And the utilization of the bus, could you briefly describe what it's going to be used for?
Sure, this is our park bus. We have two, one owned by Richmond Heights and one owned by Maplewood, and these are used for a range of purposes, including transporting seniors around our community, as well as students who are enrolled in the camps that the Heights puts on. We use it for Maplewood 101. The park bus definitely gets out. When seniors take trips to the casino or out to the winery, a lot of those activities involve using the park buses.
Okay.
And the one we have, we keep Band-Aiding. It's from 2006, and I won't say it's unsafe, but it's certainly getting to a point where we are not able to repair it.
Will we be trading that one in?
We'll be selling it for whatever parts we can.
Are there any questions or comments or anything else?
Our seniors deserve a nice bus. Let's make it happen.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Greenberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Homa,
Yes.
Councilmember Baddix,
Yes.
and Councilmember Page.
Yes.
Okay, 25-9 is approved.
Next item is Resolution 25-10, authorizing the city manager to accept the bid from BP Roofing in the amount of $20,315 for the salt bin roof replacement at the Public Works facility. The majority of the salt is, we need a motion, I'm sorry.
Yeah, motion to approve?
Second?
The majority of the salt is kept in Bridgeton, is that correct?
St. Anne.
St. Anne. And then we bring it over as we need it so that we can have it when we need it.
Correct.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah, I have one. I did a little research on these because I was just curious about whether or not these were union shops, and both BP Roofing and the plumbing company in 2511 are an employee union labor. I know we had some sort of a discussion a while back about an ordinance or policy to make sure that that was a part of what the city was assessing for these bids. And I think we even had something first or second read. And I'm just curious if there would be any appetite to bring that back to the table at some point and to have a policy where we're looking for either union labor or prevailing wage in the bids that we're going after.
At the time, what was proposed wasn't acceptable, but I don't have a problem with having a discussion, coming up with, perhaps a more reasonable policy. So, but I appreciate you doing the research. And are there any questions or any other questions or comments with regards to this resolution? Okay. And roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Greenberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Homa,
Yes.
Councilmember Maddox,
Yes.
Councilmember Page.
Yes.
Okay, 25-10 is approved.
Thank you. Resolution 2511, authorizing the city manager to accept the bid from Merlot Plumbing in the amount of $29,103 for the installation of 2 drinking fountains. Please elaborate. Let's get a motion first.
Motion to approve?
Seconded?
Okay, elaborate, because this is more than just, installing regular.
Correct. These are 2 bottle-filling water fountains, so installation of these is going to require updates to the plumbing in those 2 parks.
Yeah, they're in the park, so we need plumbing to those locations.
Yeah.
And that accounts for, obviously, the additional cost involved here. Any questions?
It's also concrete work, isn't it? Yeah, okay.
Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Greenberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Homa,
Yes.
Councilmember Maddox,
Yes.
Councilmember Page,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 2511 is approved.
Thank you. Next item is Bill 6277, temporarily suspending enforcement of Chapter 12, Section 12-117, adoption of Property Maintenance Code, Section 302.4, weeds, and Chapter 54, Section 54-56, cutting required of the Code of Ordinances relating to the growth of grass or weeds to promote no-mow April from April 1st to April 30th, 2025, 2026, and 2027 in support of pollinators and wildlife habitat.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Last year was the first year that we did that. There weren't any issues.
We had a few complaints, certainly, but we were able to respond and resolve those. I think there will always be people who do not prefer to have long grass at any point, but in the interest of preserving habitat, it isn't just the grasses that shouldn't be cut, but yards shouldn't be cleared in order to provide the best habitat according to our Sustainability Commission.
And since you guys were on the council at that time, did you receive any?
No, mostly praise.
Yeah.
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 I don't recall any complaints.
Well, people were happy to not feel like they had to mow their lawns.
They were, and I think there's an emerging understanding of how absurd a cut grass lawn is, right? I mean, we've all just been programmed to believe that looks good, and I think this is a great move towards, there are other things that look great that are much, 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 much more sustainable. I'm so anti-lawn, even though I have one and keep it up. So this is one of my favorite things, and I love that we're approving it for several years. I'm all excited about this.
You know, I would like to perhaps have an opinion from our Sustainability Commission about, the other ways that we can support pollinators and wildlife habitat.
Yeah, I'm actually looking into replacing my backyard grass with clover, because you don't have to mow it. It only ever grows 4 inches high. It's drought resistant. So I'm trying to learn this too. There are options, and I think this is a great thing to let
I
us
used
experiment.
a Maplewood-based landscaping business last year to get rid of my front lawn. So now it is just for the pollinators with Missouri natives.
So, obviously, there's other things that we can do, but that doesn't mean, that doesn't preclude us from doing this. So we have a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Second reading, weeds in let me start from the beginning here. Bill 6277, first and second reading, temporarily suspending enforcement of Chapter 12, Section 117, adoption of Property Maintenance Code, Section 302.4, weeds in Chapter 54, Section 54-56, cutting required of the Code of Ordinances related to the growth of grass or weeds to promote no-mow April from April 1st through 30th, 2025, 2026, and 2027 in support of pollinators and wildlife habitat.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
This isn't about to pass or not, but I'm just going to wonder aloud if we could do a little press release or something so that we got a little pub, and then our residents that maybe complained last year will be like, oh, it's that thing. Just a thought. I could see Fox News coming out and being like, oh, the Maplewood lawns look shaggy, and here's why. I think there's a story there.
I thought we had signs. I thought I saw some signs
We did.
last year. Okay.
But,
And in the newsletter, the Maple Leaf, maybe I can explore other options. Let them know that that's going to happen, but,
there are other ways you can,
yeah.
I love that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The third and final reading will be held at our April 8th meeting. Next item is the council and staff report, mayor's report. There is none. Ward 1,
I have nothing to report.
Ward 2,
We have nothing to report.
Ward 3,
Nothing to report.
city attorney's report,
Nothing to report.
city manager's report.
I have 4 items to report.
As you should.
As you all know, Tuesday, April 8th is our municipal election. We will be doing a social media post about what's on the ballot specifically related to our jurisdiction here in City Council. As most voters are aware, Ward 2, we have one candidate filed, the incumbent, Mr. Eric Page. Ward 3, the incumbent has also filed, Mr. Nicholas Homa. We do not have a candidate filed in Ward 1, so I will remind all of you and anyone who's listening that the write-in candidate who receives the most votes will be our Ward 1 City Council member. We are encouraging anyone who is considering proposing themselves as a write-in candidate to at least touch base with the deputy city clerk to notify us so that we're prepared to jump into action and provide all of the Missouri Ethics Commission materials to them should they be successful. We will have swearing in at our April 22nd meeting. We will also take that opportunity to celebrate the service of a council member, Correll, who will be departing the council that evening. Maplewood City Hall will be a polling location, although we will not be an early voting location. So we encourage residents to look at the county's website to get information on early voting, which opens March 25th. Each of our wards will be hosting a ward meeting this spring. Ward 1 will be April 12th at Lindbergh Park, Ward 2, April 26th at Ryan Hummert Park, and Ward 3, May 10th at Central Park. Those are all occurring at 10 a.m. We will again have coffee and some goodies for those who choose to show up and make their inquiries and questions and concerns heard. For those of you on council who are able to attend and participate, we certainly encourage that. We will also have staff present. We have implemented ward-specific e-newsletters. Those are available for people to sign up for on the city's website today. So you'll receive notification of the upcoming ward meetings, and then you will receive ward-specific news related to what was discussed at those ward meetings. So we do encourage folks to sign up. Our board and commission sorry, Mayor, were you?
April 8th is the election date, and that's also a city council.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. We will have our meeting remotely over Teams that evening, starting at 7 o'clock. Those details will be on the city's website and will also be shared with you. Our application period is always open for boards and commissions, but we will formally begin promoting that in April. All applications received by 5 p.m. on Monday, May 5th, will be considered for placement for terms starting July 1st. You'll have an opportunity to review those applications on May 13th at a work session, with those appointments being made at the May 27th meeting. We encourage everyone who's interested to apply. We will be producing the yard signs and placing those around, giving those to current board and commission members to place in their yards, encouraging folks to participate. And finally, enclosed in your packet is the 2024 update from our social services coordinator detailing the residents who were provided assistance, both Maplewood and Richmond Heights residents, 118 of them. 65 were new to the social services coordinator, 30 were ones that she had already supported, and 23 of those were households impacted by the fire that happened in the 7300 block of Maple Avenue earlier this year. So, any questions?
I appreciate the social services program update. I know I've asked questions about this before, so I appreciate seeing the outcomes and the goals. I think it's a critical resource and a heavily utilized resource, and kind of provides a safety net that we didn't used to have. So interesting to see how much use it gets, especially from the Maplewood side. Just want to make sure that Audrey has all the support that she needs, but I appreciate that update so that we can kind of see how much it's being used.
Do you have an update coming from our new nonprofit anytime? And then
We have them scheduled to again give a presentation at the December council meeting.
Okay.
But since they are an independent 501c3 now, separate from the city, we aren't able to really obligate them.
No, not at all. But I just remember the birthing of that was that they would work in tandem and be have some sort of interface with what we're doing.
Yeah. So my understanding, based on what was reported at the Human Services Commission meeting, is that they are working on finalizing their website and logo, and they will be officially launching to the public at the Taste of Maplewood event.
Awesome. That's exciting.
So they'll have a table there.
Yeah, it's more curiosity and like encouragement, I think, is what I would frame it as. Wanting to have them come to us.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry.
Yeah, and to support our social services coordinator.
100%. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is like the Prime Minister questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. I don't believe that there is a need to have a closed session, so I will entertain a motion to
I
adjourn.
think we missed the second public comment.
Public
Oh,
comment?
I'm sorry. Come on up.
You had said that the new fiscal year don't start till July?
That's correct.
Okay, when I talked to Jason Tuesday last week, he told me that he still has no funding, so that means he won't get no funding till July?
No, we're in a position to be able to appropriate funds from a different account.
Okay. That's the only thing I had. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Would you like to? Okay. At this point, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting is adjourned.